Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Marketing Podcast, your source for all things marketing. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Peyman Nilforoush on the line, and he's CEO and co-founder over at inPowered. Peyman, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so I'm excited to get into today's topic. So we're going to talk about, the impact of AI on content marketing and why businesses and entrepreneurs should have an effective digital marketing strategy. But before we do that, let's get a little bit further into what you're doing over at inPowered. Tell us a little bit more about the company, please.
Yeah, so, 10 years ago, right, was 2009. And, as the market had kind of crashed already, we were in the midst of raising venture capital for our last company that was called NetShelter. And it was basically a banner advertising company, and it was focused on helping technology blogs generate revenue. And, we ended up building that company up, bootstrapping it, raising venture capital, and ultimately selling it to Ziff Davis in 2013. And all that journey kind of taught us was that ultimately for brand marketers, it's really, really critical to be online. It's really critical to use online advertising to kind of sell products. But banner advertising as a whole has been very, very disappointing for both consumers and marketers, right? And when I say consumers, like, what is the typical picture on a banner ad on a really good day is now 0.05%, right? That means like 99.95% of people don't click on a banner ad. And to us, that's been the fundamental problem with advertising, right? It's like, interrupting consumers' experiences with banners and pop-ups has really never worked. Mm-hmm. So when we kind of launched inPowered in 2014, after we had sold our last company, NetShelter, the whole focus was like, okay, we've been here, we've been around, we've really learned what works and what doesn't work, but what we're really trying to figure out is where is this thing going, and our thoughts were, if interrupting people's experiences doesn't work, well, what if you kind of flip that on its head and actually focus on giving consumers something that is of value? And that is really where my co-founder and brother, P. came up with this idea of, well, what if we actually use content and found, really good content that brands are putting out there on their blogs or what have you, and use that in engaging consumers and putting that out there and helping them to actually, get that content, read that content, ultimately using that content as a way of finding the right audience and ultimately, make them a customer. And this is content marketing at its really kind of basics, which is, as a brand, every one of us, whether you're a small business or Fortune 500, we're investing a lot nowadays putting, actually publishing content on our blogs. And then, the problem really becomes how do people find that content, right? And if, you've been here long enough, Google used to be the way people found that content. But, since, past few years, that's really not the case, right? The organic traffic from Google and the other sources is not really being effective in driving traffic to blogs. And so our whole focus has been, well, you need to actually push out the content, right? You need to amplify the content. And that's really where inPowered has been, investing our time, which is, using one platform to amplify content outward in order to find the right audience for your content, and only basically paying for when people engage with that content. So in our model, unless somebody spends minimum 15 seconds reading the content, they don't pay. And that's really been the focus of, a performance-based model that attracts, content marketers.
And you're the guy that I wanted, and that's why you're the guy that I wanted to talk about content marketing with, because of what you've done with over at inPowered. So that being said, let's jump right in. So how is AI, do you think, impacting content marketing? And let's talk a little bit more about digital marketing strategy, please.
So, one of the biggest problems for content marketers that we've been talking to, and we talk to a lot of our customers are Fortune 500, larger brands that have invested, they have content marketing teams, and they've invested a lot of money in actually producing content. And, one of their biggest problem has been delivering ROI. And by that, I don't mean just leads. I mean actually being able to showcase that, you're investing, let's say, millions of dollars in producing content, right, on the company's blog. Well, how is this content leading into business outcomes and results? And that could be getting people to spend time with the content. It could be signing them up, getting them into your kind of marketing automation, so getting their email address. It could be, figuring out how the content is changing their perception, right? So the brand lift that you're creating, or it could be a straight up lead, right? But the point is, how do you actually solve for that and get there, and deliver and kind of showcase that ROI? That is literally the problem that we've been focused on, which is, the just very beginning of inPowered, when we launched, our whole focus was, okay, let's just focus on getting people to engage with the content, right? So, that is where the model came from, which is we said, listen, we are going to take the content that you've produced as a brand, and our software is going to essentially distribute that across all the different paid channels, from Facebook to Yahoo to all the different networks, in order to, Twitter, everywhere, that's a paid channel for content distribution. And we are going to drive traffic to your content, so our software is going to be focused on getting people to spend with that content for a minimum 15 seconds, or you don't pay. That is what really forced us to develop our AI technology, because when we launched with that model, the price to get somebody to that content that we could offer was $5. So $5 cost per engagement, which was high. And that is really our, where we started really developing a lot of AI machine learning to figure out how to bring that cost down. And today we're able to offer a cost per engagement for somewhere between 50 cents to $1, depending on the content that the brand has produced.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. And so let's talk a little bit more about the strategy side of things. So there's some brands listening right now, and they're thinking about, they've been looking for ways to develop, to add AI and to add these type of advanced strategies into their marketing efforts. But maybe they haven't really created an overall strategy. Where does this fit in, do you think, in somebody's overall strategy?
So content marketing, historically has very much been mid to top funnel strategy, right? So in a world where, brands are essentially storytellers, right? It's the point is, consumers are out there every single day. We are spending more time in our feeds, right, today than ever before. So if you're a brand, you really want to put out stories, you want to put out content that is useful, helpful, entertaining, or all the above for the consumer. And to do that effectively, you need to do two things really, really well. One is you need to really listen to consumers and understand what is it that they're looking for and how you can be helpful to them. And that really goes into your content creation strategy. And now a lot of brands have gone very, very good at that, right? Especially the Fortune 500. They've really been doing it, for the past 5 years. Some of them much longer. I mean, some of the brands have been doing content marketing in many years. Even maybe they haven't been calling it content marketing, but they've really been investing a lot of money in producing content that is useful to to their target audience, to their consumer, right? So then the second problem really becomes, how do you effectively distribute that content in order to find the right audience for the content, right? And I think that's where we've invested a lot of our time with our customers, which is understanding ultimately what is your goal, what is your end outcome. And as I was sharing earlier, like almost every brand wants to get traffic to their content that is good traffic, right? People that it's not a clickbait. You didn't get them by sort of try to clickbait the headline, but you actually got them because they're interested in the content that you put out. So that's number one. Get them there, get them engaged. Step two is, now that you got them there and you got them engaged, well, you got to have some sort of outcome that you're trying to drive, right? So if it's just changing their brand perception, well, you got to measure that. So that's where we really, came up with this idea of, after somebody read the content for a minimum of 15 seconds, there's got to be a call to action. And that literally came from some of our very early clients that said, listen, I love to get the traffic here, but there's got to be a call to action. And that call to action is where also our AI really plays a big role, which is, okay, well, after 15 seconds, we actually present a slider that slides up both on mobile and desktop that literally could be customized to the KPI that the brand is after. So if it's simply figuring out what is the change in brand perception, it could be literally a question that says, are you now more likely to consider, this brand after reading the content? And that's measured in real time. But it also could be very much of a call to action that leads into something very specific. So, for example, we've had a lot of, different, travel or finance clients that want to actually get the person's email address. So they ask them to submit their email address so that they can keep up with the blog and the information that they're putting out there. So it could be a direct email submission form that we're seeing a lot of success with that. So essentially you get the person to the blog, you get them to read the content, you use our software to make sure they get the right call to action, submit their email, and then from there on, you're nurturing them using HubSpot, Marketo, whatever your marketing automation is, right? So you're feeding your marketing automation with new email addresses. And then the last one could be a straight up call to action that leads into something that you want to do on your website. We have airlines, for example, or other marketers who, after somebody reading the content, they want to, for example, go and search for a flight or some specific action on their website. And our call to action essentially enables them to do that too. So kind of those are the three steps, create great content, right? Distribute it so that you can get an engaged audience there, and then present them with some sort of a call to action in order to convert them.
Man, that's awesome. So, Peyman, first off, I could talk to you about this all day long, but we're about out of time. So, two-part questions, final questions. Number one, what are the right type of clients? A lot of business owners, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of executives listening. What are the right types of clients that make sense for inPowered? Number two, what's the best way for someone to reach out that's listening to this and wants to learn more?
So, the clients that have had the most success with us are people, any brand, literally, and mostly, right now, a lot of them are larger brands, but brands that are investing a lot of money in content marketing, right? They really want to make content marketing successful, and they do see that there is a significant ROI problem with content marketing, right? They've been doing this for some time. They're getting some success, but they know there's a lot more that they can get from their content marketing. And frankly, they want to go to their boss and be able to increase the budget that they can kind of spend. And to do that, they need to show success. So delivering that ROI and showcasing that ROI with content marketing, that is a problem that we can solve for them. So that's number one. And then number two, in terms of how they can get in touch with us, it's pretty simple. I mean, we have a sales team that is across the country, and in every major major city. So it's going to our website, getting in touch, just to basically contacting us, and we have a very strategic team that could not only talk about kind of like what the features and benefits are, but really take a holistic approach to content marketing and help with the actual strategy. So in many cases, we directly partner with the brands to kind of enhance what they're getting from their ad agency when it comes to specific content marketing strategy.
Fantastic. Well, hey, Peyman, been awesome having you on the show today. Appreciate you coming on and teaching us a little bit more about what you're doing and also what business owners should be thinking about with their content marketing strategies. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Marketing, definitely give us a subscribe there, but also leave us some comments on the video. Love to know what you're up to and what kind of things are going on in your business. And Peyman, thanks again for coming on the show.